Before you spend that next dime, take a closer look. You might be holding one of the rarest and most valuable coins in U.S. history. Some of these tiny coins have quietly become worth thousands, hidden in plain sight. Let's uncover which dimes are truly worth more than just 10 cents. Imagine holding a coin that has silently traveled through time, untouched, surviving decades of circulation yet preserving every detail as if it were freshly minted. Today, we're uncovering a coin that has fascinated collectors for generations, a coin that is small in size but enormous in significance, the 1960 Roosevelt Dime. At first glance, it might seem like just another dime, the kind that jingles in pockets and coin jars. But look closer, and you'll see the story it carries, a story of history, artistry, and extraordinary preservation. The 1960 Roosevelt Dime comes from a period when America was standing at the threshold of a new decade. The 1960s were about to bring transformation, and even the coins minted during this era reflect the era's subtle energy. This dime honors President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, a man whose leadership during the Great Depression and World War II left an indelible mark on the nation. His likeness, engraved with care by John Sinek, the U.S. Mint's chief engraver, dominates the obverse. Every curve of his hair, every line of his face, communicates determination and vision, a tribute captured in silver. Sinek's work was meticulous, creating a portrait that balances realism with dignity. The reverse of the coin carries a symbolic message of its own. A torch represents liberty, flanked by an olive branch symbolizing peace and an oak branch for strength. Each element was chosen deliberately, reflecting the ideals Roosevelt championed. To collectors, these features are more than design, they are a connection to history, a reminder that even everyday currency can carry deep meaning. Numismatists often point out that the spacing, engraving depth, and symmetry of these elements can vary slightly from coin to coin, and these subtle differences can make a big impact on a coin's collectability. What makes the 1960 Roosevelt Dime especially remarkable is the rarity of surviving specimens in exceptional condition. Millions were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, yet most circulated, wore down, and lost their original luster. A few, however, were preserved meticulously, never touched by everyday hands, maintaining the crisp details and reflective surfaces that define a coin in mint state. Among these, coins from the Denver Mint with the small D mint mark are especially coveted, drawing the attention of serious collectors. Collectors and enthusiasts have long hunted these coins, whether in rolls, estate sales, or private collections. The thrill comes from spotting a dime that has survived decades almost perfectly, its features sharp, its surface gleaming. Imagine discovering one in a bundle of coins at a local bank, the way it catches the light, its details seemingly untouched by time. Each find is a reminder that sometimes, treasure is hidden in plain sight. Professional grading adds another layer of fascination. Coins evaluated at high grades on the 1 to 70 scale become instant stars in the collecting world. For the 1960 Roosevelt Dime, those that achieve the top tier of grading are exceedingly rare, often commanding significant attention in the market. Experts analyze every minute detail, the sharpness of Roosevelt's hair, the clarity of the torch and branches, the smoothness of the surfaces, and even the slightest imperfections that might be present. The best coins are virtually flawless, offering a window into the precision and craftsmanship of the U.S. Mint during that era. Holding a 1960 Roosevelt Dime in such pristine condition is like holding a miniature time capsule. The coin captures a moment in history, reflecting both the artistry of Sinek and the enduring legacy of Roosevelt himself. It's not just currency, it's a piece of Americana, a symbol of values like liberty, strength, and perseverance, all in the palm of your hand. Over time, the market for these coins has only grown, with collectors willing to pay premium prices for specimens that have survived in top condition. The combination of historical significance, rarity, and aesthetic appeal makes the 1960 Roosevelt Dime a coveted gem in any collection. Serious collectors study the coins for years, sometimes seeking multiple examples to compare subtle differences in strike quality, minting imperfections, or surface luster. The coins are not just objects, they are pieces of history, each telling its own story, each preserved through decades by chance, care, or both. Finally, after decades of careful preservation, attention from collectors, and the passage of time, the coin value of a pristine 1960 Roosevelt dime today stands at $122,000, a staggering testament to its rarity, quality, and the legacy it carries. This remarkable figure reflects not just its scarcity, but the deep historical resonance, artistry, and meticulous care that have allowed this coin to survive in such extraordinary condition. It's a treasure that continues to captivate collectors, a small coin with a truly monumental story. Next, we turn our attention to a coin that quietly slipped into circulation over 25 years ago but has since become a prized treasure among collectors, the 1994 D USA 1 dime. At first glance, it might look like a typical dime from the mid-1990s, the kind you might find loose in a jar or mixed in with pocket change. Yet beneath its everyday appearance lies a story of minting precision, subtle anomalies, and the rare chance of survival in flawless condition. The year 1994 was an interesting time for the United States. The economy was strong, pop culture was booming, and the country was moving confidently toward a new era. Coins minted in this period were produced in vast numbers, yet few have endured the test of time without even the slightest trace of handling. The 1994 D dime, struck at the Denver Mint, stands out not because of any major design change, it carries the familiar profile of Franklin Roosevelt, but because of the exceptional quality of certain examples. Collectors are particularly drawn to this coin for its pristine condition. Unlike most dimes that bear the marks of daily life, the rare high-grade 1994 D dime has survived decades with sharp details and a reflective surface that hints at its original mint state. Subtle factors such as the alignment of the letters, the crispness of the date, and even the depth of the relief contribute to its desirability. For coin enthusiasts, these details are like a signature, proof that the piece has been carefully preserved. Another fascinating aspect of the 1994 D dime is the consistency and quality control of the Denver Mint during this era. While billions of dimes were produced, only a tiny fraction achieved the level of perfection that collectors prize today. Those coins that did are now considered high-grade survivors, coveted for the rarity of their flawless appearance. Each coin tells a story, not of circulation, but of survival, chance, and the exacting standards of the mint. The thrill of discovering one of these dimes can be intense. Imagine sifting through rolls of coins at a local coin shop or auction, spotting one with a luster that seems to glow, edges perfectly sharp, and the tiniest details crisp as if freshly struck. For collectors, finding such a coin is akin to uncovering a hidden gem, a piece of history that has remained nearly untouched for decades. Collectors also often note the significance of subtle minting characteristics that differentiate one 1994 D dime from another. Slight variations in strike pressure, minor die shifts, or even differences in the finish can elevate a coin from ordinary to extraordinary. Understanding these nuances requires patience, knowledge, and an eye for detail, a true reward for those dedicated to the craft of numismatics. The appeal lies not just in the coin itself, but in the story it silently tells, of meticulous production and the rarity of survival. Over the years, the market for pristine 1994 D dimes has grown steadily. Serious collectors and investors alike recognize the scarcity of coins that have maintained their original brilliance, and this demand has propelled some specimens to impressive prices. Unlike more common coins, the top-tier examples are rarely seen, and when they surface, they are met with excitement and competition among collectors. Each coin that emerges tells a story of careful preservation and sometimes decades-long journeys through private collections and auctions. Enthusiasts often spend years tracking down rolls, hoping for that one perfect strike that has defied time. Some even consider it a lifelong quest, combining history, strategy, and patience. Every high-grade 1994 D dime is a testament to the skill of the mint workers and the meticulous care of collectors who safeguarded them. When you hold such a coin, you are holding a piece of history frozen in time, with details that defy decades of handling. Its reflective surfaces, sharp relief, and flawless edges make it not just a coin, but a piece of art appreciated in the numismatic world. The rarity of such survival adds to its mystique, making each find feel like a discovery of a hidden treasure. After years of careful preservation, collector attention, and sheer rarity, one high-grade 1994 D USA 1 dime recently achieved a remarkable milestone in the collecting world. Its exceptional condition, sharp details, and flawless surfaces culminated in a coin value that reflects both its rarity and prestige, $62,000. This is a coin that proves even modern dimes, when preserved perfectly, can become treasures that command serious respect and admiration. One high-grade 1994 D USA 1 dime recently made headlines in the collecting world, achieving a remarkable coin value of $62,000. Its pristine surfaces, razor-sharp details, and flawless strike make it a true standout among modern dimes, a testament to both its rarity and the meticulous care it has received over the years. What makes this coin truly special is how few have survived in such condition. So, if you come across a 1994 D dime that seems to glow with luster, with perfectly defined edges and crisp lettering, you could be looking at a hidden gem that commands serious attention from collectors. Beyond its market value, this dime represents a story of survival and precision. Each line, each relief, each reflective surface speaks to the exacting standards of the Denver Mint and the dedication of collectors who preserved it. Now let's move on to the third coin in today's video, the 1999 D Roosevelt Dime. This coin was struck at the Denver Mint in the year 1999 and is part of the modern Roosevelt Dime series that has been in continuous production. Like other dimes from the late 1990s, it was minted for circulation, meaning it was intended for everyday use, not for collectors. The Denver Mint produced a large quantity of these coins, over 1.3 billion of them, to be exact. So, at first glance, this coin doesn't appear to be anything rare. But not every coin that comes off the press is identical in quality, and that's where the story of this particular dime becomes interesting. While the design and specifications are the same across the mintage, showing Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse, and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse, small differences in how each coin is struck can make a big difference in long-term value. The Roosevelt dime's design includes subtle features that often wear down quickly in circulation. For example, the details in Roosevelt's hair and the torch flame can lose sharpness easily, even with minimal handling. This makes well-preserved examples more difficult to come by. Coins stored in original bank rolls or mint sets have a better chance of retaining high detail and surface quality over time. What sets some 1999 D dimes apart is their condition. The majority of these coins went straight into circulation. They were used in cash registers, vending machines, and pockets, picking up scratches, nicks, and general wear over time. Coins that circulated typically don't maintain their original detail, luster, or surface quality. However, a very small number of 1999 D dimes were preserved immediately after minting. These coins were never used in commerce and remained in what collectors call mint state condition. And among those, a few were found to have exceptionally sharp details, strong luster, and almost no surface marks, traits that make them stand out even within the mint state category. To objectively assess a coin's quality, collectors and dealers rely on a grading scale from 1 to 70, with 70 being a perfect coin. Most coins fall far below the top of that scale, especially those that were minted for circulation. In the case of the 1999 D Roosevelt dime, finding one in grades of MS 66 or higher is uncommon. MS 67 is even harder to come by, and MS 68 is extremely rare. It's not just about being in good condition, it's about being nearly flawless under magnification. That includes sharp details on Roosevelt's hair and face, full separation in the lines of the torch and branches on the reverse, and a clean surface free of distracting marks. Coins that meet these standards are highly sought after by collectors who focus on modern high-grade coins. One of the main reasons why high-grade examples of the 1999 D dime are so difficult to find is because of the sheer volume of coins struck. When a mint produces coins in the hundreds of millions or billions, dies wear out faster and quality control becomes more difficult to maintain at the highest levels. As a result, nearly all coins from such high-volume production runs show at least minor imperfections. That's why it's rare when a coin from that kind of mintage survives in exceptional condition. Another factor that adds interest to this coin is the narrow population of top-graded examples. Coin grading services track how many coins they've graded at each level, and in the case of the 1999 D Dime, there are only a small handful that have ever received the highest marks. This low population increases both the demand and the potential value among collectors who are building competitive sets or simply looking for the best possible examples of each date and mint mark. It's also worth noting that the design elements on the Roosevelt Dime can make high grades harder to achieve. The flat surfaces, fine details, and open fields show contact marks very easily. So any handling or stacking of coins right after minting can lead to imperfections that prevent high grades. Now, to be clear, the vast majority of 1999 D Roosevelt dimes are worth face value. Even uncirculated examples that grade MS-63 or MS-64 are relatively common and not particularly valuable. But once you reach MS-67 and above, the number of surviving coins drops off significantly, and the collector interest starts to increase. So what is a top-quality 1999 D Roosevelt dime actually worth? A coin graded MS-68, with no major marks and strong overall eye appeal, can sell for as much as $55,000. Yes, $55,000, for a 10-cent coin. But remember, this is not your everyday dime. It's one of the very best-known examples, and it holds that value because of its condition, its rarity at that grade level, and its appeal to collectors who focus on high-end modern U.S. coinage. If you're going through your coin rolls or checking through your collection, keep an eye out for 1999 D dimes in unusually good condition. If you think you found one that stands out, it may be worth having it professionally graded. While the odds of finding an MS-68 example are extremely low, the possibility does exist, and that's what keeps collectors looking. Up next, we have the 2005 Roosevelt Dime, another interesting piece from the modern U.S. coinage lineup. This dime was minted in 2005 and, like most Roosevelt dimes from the last few decades, it was intended primarily for general circulation. Both the Philadelphia and Denver mints produced these coins in large numbers that year, with hundreds of millions struck at each facility. The coin followed the same standard design used throughout the series, featuring President Franklin D. Roosevelt on the front and the torch, olive branch, and oak branch on the reverse. At first glance, the 2005 dime doesn't seem different from any other recent issue. The design hadn't changed, the composition remained copper-nickel clad, and it was distributed widely across the country for everyday use. But, as is sometimes the case in coin production, not every dime struck that year came out exactly the same. There are a few interesting characteristics collectors have noticed in certain 2005 dimes, mostly related to how well the coin was struck. In high-grade mint state, even modern coins can stand out, and the 2005 dime is no exception. What makes this year notable is that a very limited number of these dimes were preserved in extremely sharp condition, so sharp that they've attracted the attention of those who collect coins at the very highest grade levels. Coins that stay in pristine condition straight from the mint are hard to come by, especially when they were mass-produced and sent out for regular circulation. That's why coins found in unsearched mint rolls or original government packaging tend to fare better over time. In the case of the 2005 dime, a small number of coins were discovered with almost no marks, perfect luster, and fully struck details across both sides. One of the challenges with Roosevelt dimes is that their design can make even minor flaws very noticeable. The flat fields, especially around the portrait, show contact marks easily. And the torch on the reverse often loses clarity if the strike is even slightly weak. So when a coin survives with full details and clean surfaces, it stands apart immediately. It's not just about avoiding wear, it's about how well the coin was struck in the first place. Even freshly minted coins can have weak areas or small blemishes that limit their grade. So to see one that checks all the boxes, sharpness, luster, and overall eye appeal, is something collectors take seriously. In 2005, the Denver Mint produced more than 500 million dimes. With a number that high, production dies wear out quickly, and quality control focuses more on general acceptability than perfection. That's what makes the few coins that escape the system in flawless condition so interesting to collectors today. To be recognized as a top-grade specimen, a coin typically needs to be graded on the 70-point scale and earn a rating of MS 67 or higher. Coins graded MS 68 and above are extremely hard to find, especially among modern circulation issues. These represent the absolute best of the best from a given year. Only a tiny number of 2005 dimes have ever reached this level of preservation. This limited number makes them highly desirable to a specific group of collectors who specialize in building top-grade sets. These individuals aren't just looking for coins in good shape, they're looking for the finest known examples from each year and mint mark. Many of these collectors aim to complete registry sets, which means they compete to own the highest graded coin for every date and mint combination. This creates strong demand for coins that are at the very top of the grading scale. Even a 1-point difference in grade can mean a major difference in value. What's also important is that there isn't a well-known error or variety tied to the 2005 dime. Its value doesn't come from a striking mistake or misprint, but instead from its condition alone. That makes it a pure example of how quality alone can elevate a coin's status significantly. If you're searching through rolls, pocket change, or old coin collections, the chances of finding one of these ultra-high-grade examples are very slim, but not impossible. That's exactly what makes modern coin collecting so exciting. Even the most common coins can hide extraordinary value if the condition is just right. The tiniest details, sharpness, luster, and flawless surfaces, can transform an ordinary coin into a rare treasure. Take the 2005 Roosevelt Dime, for example. While millions were minted and used in everyday transactions, one particular example stood out above the rest. The most well-preserved known specimen of the 2005 Roosevelt Dime has been valued at an astonishing $33,000. Yes, you heard that right, a single dime, worth $33,000, all because of its pristine condition. So next time you're checking your change or going through a coin jar, take a closer look. You never know when you might come across a coin that's worth far more than face value. Pay attention to the details. Coins with no visible wear, strong strikes, and mint luster are the ones to watch out for. And if you think you found something special, consider getting it professionally graded. It could make all the difference. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or interesting, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a rare coin update.